Lesson number 26 is about statistics, and we're going to talk about the mode, the median, the mean, and the range. Now the first question says to find those four things, the range, the mode, the median, and the mean, of the following data set. Now we have a small data set here, and when we want to find these things, well, we've got a nice box over here that has our definitions written out for us. Please take a moment to pause the video now to get this written in your notes. The range is always equal to the largest number minus the smallest number. The mode is the number or numbers that happen the most. The median is the middle number when you put the data set in numerical order from least to greatest. And the mean is the same as the average, which is the sum of numbers divided by the number of numbers. Please feel free to use these abbreviations as you can when you write out your notes. Now, let's go ahead and start this problem. Again, pause if you need more time to copy down the definition. To find the range, part A, the range, that's the largest minus the smallest. So the largest in this data set is 7, and the smallest is 4. So we're going to get 7 minus 4, and that's going to be equal to 3. And we've got our range, largest minus the smallest. Problem B is the mode, and the mode is the number that happens the most frequently. Now you can see in this data set we have two 4s. So 4 must be the mode because it's the number that happens the most. For mode, it's possible we could have one number that's the mode, like the 4 in this example. It's possible we could have no mode if there were no numbers that happen more than once, or no numbers that happen the most. Or we could have multiple modes if numbers were to happen more than once, with more than one number. Problem C is the median. Now in order to get the median, we need to arrange our numbers from least to greatest. We'll do so right here on C. We've got a 4 and a 4, and we have a 5, a 6, and a 7. So from least to greatest, we can see our middle number. Our middle number right here, it's right in the middle because there's 2 on either side of it. There's 2 on the left and 2 on the right, so 5. 5 must be our median for this data set. Now for problem D, we need to find out what the mean is. So we're going to add everything up. We're going to find the sum of the numbers divided by the number of numbers. So we're going to get 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4. Remember, order of addition does not matter. You could have used your numerical list from problem C if you had liked. And we're going to divide it by the number of numbers. Now we know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So we're going to divide by 5. Well, if we go through, we can add. 4 plus 5, that's going to give us 9. And let's write small right next to our numbers so we can work as we go. 4 plus 5, well, that's equal to 9. Okay, we have 9 plus 7, that's going to be equal to 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. And we have 22 plus 4, that's going to give us a grand total of 26. So, we have 26 over 5. We have 26 over 5. We can reduce that and turn it into a mixed number. Our mixed number must be 5 and 1/5. Because 5 times 5 is 25, we have 1 left over, so we've got that 1 out of 5. We can report this answer as 5 and 1/5, or we could say it's 5.2. We're all done with this question. Let's move on to our next example. We want to do the same thing here. We want to find the statistics, the range, the mode, the median, and the mean of the following data set. So this one, well, everything's already in numerical order. So for problem A, our range, well, that's the biggest minus the smallest. It must be 13 minus 10, and that's equal to 3. Our mode, problem B, the mode is the number that happens the most. You can see we have two 10s, and we have two 11s. So we've got two modes. 10 and 11 both happen the most. They both happen twice. So our answer is 10 and 11. They're the numbers that happen the most frequently in this data set. Problem C, we have the median, that's the middle number. And if you look, this time we have 3 on the left, 3 on the right. Our middle number would have to be right here. It's got to be the average or the mean of 11 and 11. Now, if we say 11 and 11, what's the average of that? Well, 11 plus 11 divided by 2. Well, we get 22 over 2, and you might have known this ahead of time, that the average of 11 and 11, that must be 11. So that's our median. When we have an even number of numbers in our data set, we find the median by finding the average of the middle two numbers, like this. For the mean of this data set, problem D, let's go ahead and add up top. We've got 10 and 10, that's 20. We've got 20 and 11, well 20 plus 11, that's going to give us 31. We've got 31 and 11, that's going to give us 42. 42 and 12, it's going to give us 54. 54 and 13, we've got 67. So for D, we have 67 over, well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. 67 over 6. So we could find our answer. We could say 67 divided by 6. Well, 6 goes into 6 once, and 6 goes into 7 once. We're going to have 1 left over, so we get 11 and 1/6. And we can report that as our answer. Sometimes, like these two examples, the mean or the average doesn't come out to be a whole number. That's okay. Let's move on to our next example. We've got one more today. The mean weight of 3 pigs was 320 pounds, so that's the average. The first pig weighed 220 pounds, and the second pig weighed 240 pounds. How much did the third pig weigh? Well, we know the average is equal to 320 pounds. And we know the average is the sum of the numbers divided by the number of numbers. We know there's 3 pigs. The first pig weighed 220 pounds. So when we add up the weight of the pigs, that's the sum. 220. The second pig weighed 240 pounds. And we don't know how much the third pig weighed. So that's what we're trying to figure out. We'll call this plus P for the third pig. So if we want to figure it out, well, what we know is that 220 plus 240 plus some number divided by 3 equal 320. So in order to figure out what the sum of all 3 of these numbers would be, we can multiply 320 times 3 to figure out what this should be. 320 times 3 tells us the sum, or our whole numerator. Well, we've got times 3. Well, we know 3 goes into 0. 0 times. 3 goes into 2. 6 times. And 3 goes into 3. 3 times 3. Sorry, 3 times 2. 3 times 3. And we have 9. So we have 960. So when we take these numbers on top, 220 plus 240 plus P, it's got to be equal to 960 in order to have an average of 320. So what we can do, let's add. 220 plus 240, there's no carries here. We must get 460. Plus P is equal to 960. So P must be some value between 460 and 960. In order to figure it out, let's subtract. 960 minus 460. Well, we can see 60 minus 60, that's 0. And 9 minus 4 is 5. So we've got 500. That third pig was huge, 500 pounds. But that's what it needed to be in order for all 3 pigs to have an average of weight of 320 pounds. Lesson practice will be on page 88. Make sure you got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.